Hello, I'm Sally Stanton and welcome to Snacks and Suitcases, the podcast packed with tips, tricks and real-life stories to make travelling with kids of all ages a whole lot easier and way more fun. And today we are cramming in a whole lot of packing tips.
Mom, can I pack all my teddies?
Okay, let's get started. Who here loves packing for a holiday? Me, I do. Well, actually, it's the thought of packing because that's all part of the build-up, the anticipation and excitement for the trip, isn't it? But when it actually comes time for me to pack, oh my gosh, it becomes very stressful and I just want the bag to pack itself. Now, imagine packing for a family of 5, 3 kids, international flights, carry-on luggage only. Just thinking about it makes my pulse race. But that's exactly what Bianca from the very popular blog and Instagram page Travel with My 3 Kids has mastered. You might remember Bianca from our Bali episode, but she's hopping all over the world. It's not just Bali, and most of the time it's with her entire family and carry-on luggage only, including when she goes to Japan in winter. Whoa. I mean, to me, that's impossible. Puffer jackets, winter boots, heavy, thick, warm clothing. Sounds crazy. So, Bianca is back on the pod today, and this time she's sharing all the best packing hacks. We chat about what she never leaves home without, her non-negotiables, the things she refuses to squeeze in, how she keeps luggage to a minimum, what she packs to entertain her kids on those long flights, plus some other unmissable advice. As a family of frequent travellers, Bianca has experienced some worst nightmare type situations, like losing a child at the airport and running out of formula when her flight was delayed. So there's plenty of practical advice she's learnt the hard way and she's sharing with us. You have got to hear it all. We also catch up on the latest from Bali, including the island's war on waste and how travellers can do their bit to help. So if you've got a holiday coming up and you've been putting off packing because you know you're going to overdo it, this episode is for you. Pop in your earbuds, listen while you're walking the dog, travelling to work, cooking dinner, folding the washing, or waiting for sport to finish. Let your subconscious absorb all these tips while you tackle the million other things on your to-do list. Enjoy. Hello, Bianca. Welcome back to Snacks and Suitcases.
Hi, Sally. Thanks for having me again.
Of course. Well, I just had to get you back because we've got lots to catch up on. But what have you been up to since we last spoke about beautiful Bali? Have you been there again?
I wish I have. I am absolutely obsessed with Bali to the point where I'm actually planning 2 more trips already this year. So
no.
I will be back, that's for sure, but I haven't been back since I went with my little toddler and my dad, which was such a lovely trip and it was so recharging.
Oh, beautiful.
But since then, we have had school holidays. So we did a bit of a road trip, which we've done quite a few times and we're really enjoying that now. So we drove from Sydney to the Gold Coast and we stay with my dad who lives on the Gold Coast, and we just had a really beautiful, wholesome time up there. I think it's the closest my kids have to having sort of a 90s childhood.
Yep.
You know, when they're out on the street playing with neighborhood kids until the lights come on and they do some fishing and skateboarding and surfing and swimming every day. They just live in their bathers. So yeah, it's really lovely. I was juggling it with my job, so that wasn't a great little holiday for me, but the kids had a really lovely time. And we also got up to Brisbane, which was lovely and such an underrated place for Sydney-siders to go for a weekend, I think. I think Brisbane has lots to offer, actually.
And the Gold Coast, I mean, the Sydney to Gold Coast road trip is a rite of passage, I think, for all young children.
I think so too.
Now, last time we spoke about Bali, I keep hearing news about the waste crisis that's happening there.
Yes.
Is it just something that's being kind of blown out of proportion in the media, or do tourists really have to consider this when they're going to Bali? Should they reconsider?
I think it's definitely something that people should be aware of so they're not caught off guard. But having said that, it definitely wouldn't make me reconsider. I think what Australian tourists need to do is just go in with kind of the right mindset of, this is really problematic. for locals. I mean, they're the ones actually suffering from sort of the waste issues. And the waste issues can primarily be caused by us as tourists, which is really sad.
Yeah, well, what actually is happening? Do you know the details?
So I understand that there is a landfill that might have been closed. So the government is really struggling to be able to deal with the amount of waste that is produced on the island. I mean, Bali is an island that has millions of tourists come to it every year. And those tourists create quite a lot of waste and they just don't have the infrastructure to deal with it.
Yeah.
I think the government is trying, and the local councils in Bali and Denpasar are trying as hard as they can to deal with it. When I was there in maybe late February, we saw every day the Indonesian army was down on the beach cleaning the beach every day. And that was mainly to deal with the waste or the rubbish that washes up onto the beach from other islands or sort of the monsoonal waters that wash a lot of waste up. So, I mean, that's a problem that they're dealing with, not only the waste that's produced on the island, but waste that's washed up from elsewhere. So it's actually really, it's
Wow.
really sad. I really feel for all the locals. There's a lot of locals who rely on beach trade and, that's how they make their entire income. And some tourists won't, enjoy spending time at the beach because of the amount of waste. Having said that, the beach, we did see the army cleaning up the beach daily with massive tractors pushing all the waste to one area for it then to be removed. And then the next morning there'd be all this waste washed up as well. Like I'm talking plastic bottles but also logging waste as well. So big, large timber and stuff like that had been, from other islands in Indonesia where there's been deforestation and that. So we did see a bit of that. It is very sad. And, they really are trying as hard as they can to deal with it. And, under the immense pressure of tourism and the lack of infrastructure that they have. So I think just as Aussie tourists, we just need to go there kind of with the right mindset, like, what can I do to help or reduce the amount of waste? So, if you're getting takeout, don't try not to ask for a bag or extra cutlery or something. Take it back to your hotel, use the cutlery there. Use less styrofoam, maybe eat in instead so it's less packaging involved. Say no to straws.
Yeah, do they have the same laws as we do? There's no more plastic straws?
No, absolutely not. No, there's very much still a big, heavy reliance on plastic. So plastic straws, plastic bags, plastic cutlery. It's used quite heavily over there.
I see. So I guess it's good that we are now being made aware that this is happening in Bali. Maybe it's time this will be the change. The change will happen now.
I hope so. And I've definitely seen a lot of Aussie tourists already making a change. They'll have reusable coffee cups. They'll take them over there. They'll have their reusable water bottles that they can fill up, buying big bulk water bottles for the hotel room to fill up themselves.
Yeah.
And just saying no to plastic bags, carrying around their own bags, which to us is second nature now. We always take our own bags everywhere. Yeah. We haven't had plastic bags for ages. So I think that is one way we could definitely help.
Well, I think that's the case in anywhere we visit, really. We should really be mindful of our carbon footprint. Now, Bianca, do you remember your first flight as a mum with baby and how did it go?
My eldest, so he is turning 9 soon. He was a super easy baby. I mean, I think
great.
He's absolutely the reason why we went for number 2 within 9 months after. So we were lulled into a sense of like, this is easy. Our life doesn't have to change much. We can do this. So our first flight was probably unremarkable, to be honest. And it was maybe less than 6 weeks old. And we flew from Sydney to Townsville, which is where the majority of my family were based up until a year or two ago. So flying up there just became a regular normal thing. Like I would say we probably did it every 6 weeks from, him being about 6 weeks old. And that's a 3-hour flight. So it's not super long, but it's also not super easy or short. It's kind of just on the cusp of, you do have to have something to entertain them, like when they get to that age where they need entertainment. So flying with Atticus as my eldest was pretty uneventful. I think I noticed it getting harder, absolutely, when I had the 2 under 2 and was flying up there by myself.
Oh, gosh.
There were a few memorable flights. I remember getting off the plane in Townsville and just crying to my dad, like, I am never, ever coming to see you again.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was like
horrible.
me in the
Yeah.
car with my daughter driving just like a couple of hours. She was terrible in the car. She was actually better on a plane. She
Yeah.
screamed like for 2 hours straight in the car. Oh God.
So when we started flying with 2 under 2, I did quite a few flights by myself because my husband was working a lot and I wanted to spend time with my family and for them to experience mainly the nice weather that's up in Townsville, especially in Sydney winter. So I decided to do that quite regularly. It was really hard. I do want to say that even though I run my Instagram page and we travel a lot, there are elements of traveling with kids that I still find absolutely traumatizing and horrible. And it's not easy for any of us. I might take photos and videos that make it look easy, but I'm absolutely struggling like any other parent. Every flight is unique. You never know what's going to happen. There are so many different elements to flying with kids that if one thing doesn't line up, everything could, fall apart and be horrible. But the good thing is that I always remind others is flights do come to an end. They will always end.
That's right.
And to me, the holidays or the trips are just totally worth it. So that's why I keep going back for more.
Yeah, you often forget about the flight. You don't really talk about the flight when you come home, do you? Unless it was super memorable. There were some trips for us where my daughter screamed the whole way because her ears were sore, or when she was little and we went long haul to LA and my partner got her toe stuck in the bulkhead seat when you try to put the monitor down.
Oh, no.
He jammed her toe in that little section in the armrest. That was pretty memorable.
Yeah.
But other than that, you do forget about them.
You absolutely do forget about them. Or you laugh about them later on, which is even better. So, it's I mean, it's nothing like giving birth, but that's how I do sometimes think of it, is that, the pain of it does ease over time. We've had some horrible flights, but it's never turned me off flying with kids, that's for sure. So, we've had kids throwing up the entire flights. We've had kids having diarrhea all over us and running out of nappies. We've run out of formula with, little tiny babies because our flight got turned around with a volcano erupting near Bali. And so we were sort of stranded at Darwin and then Cairns Airport for probably 10 to 12 hours with no formula for one of our little ones. And it was horrible.
So what did you do? I mean, do they sell formula at the airport?
No, they don't actually sell formula at the airport. And the airport that we kind of got stuck at, in Cairns, nothing was open for ages. I mean, we had to remain on the plane until even the staff arrived to take the luggage off. So we didn't even have any access to buy anything like that. So we did have to wait. Once we got stuck in Cairns, we were then, sort of transferred to a hotel for a few days until they figured out what was going to happen. And so that was kind of when we got some formula. But in the meantime, we were just kind of settling him as best as we could. It was really troubling.
Your poor baby.
I know. I mean, I can't remember his exact age, but I think he might have been about 11 months. So if that happened again, I probably would try to either introduce some sort of snacks or something like that, or some cow's milk if I needed to. I could ask the airline for that.
Yeah, that's true.
But for a little baby, it's definitely tough. We were just sort of making do with, I think I breastfed him a little bit, but I had a really low supply. So it was really stressful.
Oh, yeah.
And airports just really aren't set up for this for some reason. So you can't buy formula, even if there were shops open, and you also can't buy nappies or anything like that, which is absolutely wild to me.
No nappies.
No, I think all airport stores should sell nappies. I think it's absolutely crazy.
That's insane. I thought that, I've never had to do it, but I thought they would have at least maybe, those vending machines, and they might have one, you buy one nappy in there if you really needed it.
Maybe that's a business venture I should think of.
Well, perhaps this was the catalyst for you in changing the way you pack, because Bianca, you and your family, in my mind, have become the carry-on only family. I mean, you're a family of 5. Just thinking about this, Bianca, gives me anxiety. I can feel my shoulders tensing up. I am a notorious overpacker. I take everything. I still carry wet ones from my daughter who's 10. I mean, they're probably more for me, but I pack so much. I have everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't take anything over 100 meals. How do you do it? Please share with us.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I actually find it a lot easier taking carry-on than taking massive amounts of stuff. I think I get really overwhelmed packing everything and then being responsible for keeping track of everything, like big suitcases and where things are. So I think what we do is we do this as a way of prioritizing easy travel days and sort of transfers between different locations over having some comfort items, which I'm actually okay with just letting go of. So we never pack toiletries, to be honest. Or we take very, very minimal amount of toiletries. Yeah, that might sound a bit crazy.
Stop. So there's no 12-step night routine for you?
No. And is that embarrassing to admit? But definitely not.
No. Look, no, not especially when you have little ones. Like I didn't take the things I take today when my daughter was a baby. There was no hair straightener, no blow dryer, nothing.
Yeah. And you know what? We actually, some of those boring things that we use like every day, I actually use it as kind of an excuse to buy it over there as a souvenir anyway.
Oh, yeah. I do like that idea.
Yeah, I love on our first day, we always hit up a supermarket. That's kind of our routine that we do. And we'll buy some of those things. And it's actually really fun because they're so different and unique. And we get to see what other countries, what their items look like and that. So I don't take, I never take sort of shampoo or conditioner. Most hotels have it. Most hotels even provide sort of toothbrushes and toothpaste. So a lot of those things we just don't even bring. One of the toiletries we do always bring, however, is sunscreen.
Very good.
Yes. I don't think the quality is amazing in some countries.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think it's sort of to our standard in Australia. And it's also very expensive in a lot of Southeast Asian countries. So we always pack sunscreen. Yes, it is.
So in Bali, sunscreen's expensive.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's one of the most expensive things you could buy. I mean, and it won't actually do the job sometimes, which is such a shame.
Oh, I had no idea.
So yeah, you could easily pay $15 for a small tube of sunscreen.
That's good to know.
So we'll take, multiple small ones, to keep it under the 100 mils. They're also pretty flexible with the 100 mil rule when you have multiple kids and you look chaotic, to be honest.
So
okay. That's a bit of a hack.
That's the hack. Look like you haven't slept in a year. Don't brush your hair.
Absolutely.
Don't use those toiletries.
Yeah. So you just have, multiple bags and you have stuff because they do allow over 100 mils for babies. So there is that lenience already. So they're not going to sort of go through everything and go, okay, that's 90 mils, that one's 110, you can't have that one.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of flexibility with little kids and babies and toddlers and, bigger families essentially.
Yeah, a lot of people have that concern, don't they, before they do their first flight with baby. What can you pack? Can you take their snacks? Can you take breast milk? Can you take, milk in a bottle? Yes, you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you take, I have a feeling you can take boiled water too, can't you? Sterilized water over 100 mils?
Yes, you can. Look, I do like to think there's no rules for babies or toddlers. Like if you think that it could be reasonably necessary, which I think is the guidelines that the airport security say, if it's reasonably necessary for the flight time and the delay, and I mean, sometimes like without our issue where we got stuck in Cairns, the flight time and delay can be 20 hours. So, you need enough for 20 hours. So if that's boiled water, if that's cow's milk, if that's baby tubes or yogurt tubes or pouches or anything like that, you can take that.
When you are packing with 3 kids, carry on only, does everyone, how old are your kids again? The youngest couldn't have a bag?
No, so she's only 3, and then we have a 7 and an 8-year-old. Look, we run a tight ship. She won't be far off.
But does everyone get their own mini suitcase on wheels? Is that how it works?
No, so most of it is backpacks actually, and we'll bring one small suitcase on wheels for kind of extra things. So our youngest one will just have a small backpack that will have sort of her snacks for the plane and a bit of entertainment or toys. And those things we keep very light. I mean, there definitely was a day many years ago where we packed everything that you could think you might need. I was worried about them being bored on the plane, so I packed every single toy imaginable and every activity. And they just don't use it all. You need a few essentials, a few light things, and a few kind of new exciting things, and that's it. So we definitely do have reduced everything significantly. So it's definitely a mindset thing, that's for sure.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So hang on. Are the kids using iPads, did you say? Are they taking their iPads or devices?
Look, we're quite a chaotic family. Our iPads are a bit cracked and we don't know where the chargers are. So
You
Look,
sound really organised when you're packing, though.
No, a lot of our stuff has just happened kind of by accident. So our iPads have kind of like, we don't know where they are. So we just use our old phones, which actually reduces size massively. So the kids will use our old phones, will download movies and things onto that for them to watch. And then they have headphones. The two boys who are 7 and 8 now, they have a Nintendo Switch each. So, which I actually think is a really great thing for the planes. It's got no internet access, so they're not like watching YouTube or anything that I could be concerned about. It's kind of old school games. Like they play a lot of Mario Kart and they're very old school sort of 90s, early 2000s games. So, and that keeps them quite entertained. So, and they're quite small as well. So it's a Nintendo Switch Lite. So I like that. They pack them in their bags and that's kind of their entertainment. So we don't have strict rules around screens on the planes. Like travel days for us are all about survival. So I'm not going to limit anything that they do. As soon as we board, they're allowed to kind of have their snacks and their screens or their entertainment, whichever ones they choose. Like they can, believe it or not, they actually get over their screens and then they move on to something else. So I'm kind of fine with all of that.
Oh, yeah. The screen thing goes out the window when you travel.
Yeah.
That's a rule.
Absolutely.
That's the
yes,
new rule.
Everybody should have that rule. Yes, it's definitely about survival.
Okay, so what are your other non-negotiables for carry-on only? What must you pack?
So there's a few things that we still take, even though we've reduced a lot of other things. So one of those is a collapsible laundry hamper. It sounds totally random, but it is an absolute lifesaver in hotel rooms. So it falls down really small. I would say like the size of a dinner plate or something. And you can just buy them on Amazon. And then it pops up and you use it to just for everyone to put their dirty laundry in the hotel room. Obviously, that kind of is self-explanatory. But it just keeps all the dirty laundry off the floor. It just keeps the hotel room less chaotic and a bit more organized. And then we can just use it to either take straight to a laundromat or, it just makes life a lot easier. So even though we've said no to a lot of things, to taking a lot of things, that's one of the things we definitely still do take in our carry-on only.
Love that idea. And it's light too.
Yes, absolutely light. Yeah.
I mean, I always just put them in a bag, but I can imagine, with kids, that little bit of extra work, opening the bag and putting the clothes in is a lot harder than just throw it.
And trust me, that bag would be full by day one.
Oh, yes, it would be. You're right.
I think the other things that we sort of non-negotiables now are taking some layers. So I guess even if we're going to a tropical destination, we still take sort of light jumpers or layers and to wear on the plane, but also in the hotel room. So even though we're keeping clothes very light on, layers are definitely non-negotiable. And it's crazy because even though I know all of this for the kids, I completely stuff it up for myself all the time. And my last flight to Bali, I was freezing on the plane and in Bali because there was suddenly lots of rain and it was just colder than normal. And I wished every single day that I had a jumper or something a bit, an extra layer to keep me warm.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know all of this stuff. I tell people all this and I forgot it myself.
You are forgiven. You have 3 little children to think about. That's the most important part. We do end up sacrificing things for ourselves, don't we?
We definitely do, yes.
I used to pack when my daughter was really young, extra outfits for her on the plane, extra outfit for me, at least a top, because I was worried of babies vomiting, leaking nappies. All of that would happen as well, by the way.
Yeah.
I would have multiple outfits for my daughter when we flew.
Yes.
I think she was 9 months when we went to America. A little bit older, and I needed to change her so many times. And I was also thinking about, at bedtime, they've got to get into their pajamas, so that triggers their brain to sleep. I was overthinking everything. So I would take pajamas as well on the flight. Is that just ridiculous?
No, it's not ridiculous at all. Every parent has their way of coping and the things that they think that, help them and help their little one to settle. We definitely don't take pajamas. To be honest, we don't even take really pajamas for the hotel room. Our kids just kind of sleep in. They'll just put, a T-shirt on or some, for my youngest, little one who's a toddler, she would just wear like, some bike pants and a t-shirt type thing. So clothes she could also wear out during the day. So
Of course.
yeah, I mean, pajamas kind of are a bit necessary when you really think about it because it's something that you only wear inside.
It's true. Actually, yeah, for me, often I will wear tracksuit pants that I could
Yes.
also wear to breakfast, like.
Yeah, 100%. Yes. Things that you have to kind of think about your items of clothing and think, can I get multiple wears out of this? Could I also wear this, outside if we were going to go for a bit of a walk one day or something? Yeah.
Yeah, so that capsule wardrobe, it shrinks even more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've got to do it for your kids too.
Yes. Yeah. But in terms of the plane, I mean, because we're taking carry-on only, we have all those spare outfits ready, right?
Yeah.
So the leaks, the vomits, and they definitely do happen. We have had multiple flights actually where we've been covered in vomit, like us as parents, but also the kids, and we've just pulled our backpacks down and got those spare clothes out. What we do is we do keep sort of those spare outfits easier to reach, so they won't be up in the overhead compartment. They'd be, in our backpacks down underneath the seat in front of us, just for that ease of access. But also, having said that, this might sound a bit gross, but I've had flights where I've been like, look, there's a little bit of a wee leak from the nappy on me. I'm just going to deal with it.
Oh, been there. Don't worry, been there.
Yeah. So yeah,
the things we put up with.
Absolutely. Pre-kid me would never have been okay with that. But, post-kids, I'm fine sitting in 10 hours of a bit of a dirty outfit.
Now, what about, when you fly with infants, you're usually allowed to take a stroller, a high chair, a cot. You can take 3 extra bags, can't you? As long as they supposedly have the pram in there, that kind of thing. So you don't do that?
So we definitely have in the past. But now, to be honest, when we get off the plane, we do not want to wait at baggage. Like, to me, now that we've done it a few times, my goodness, it's just the best feeling ever. I think that was our biggest trigger for meltdowns is after a long travel day and long flight, standing around waiting for baggage or oversized items just did everyone in. We just want to get to our destination. So we don't take a cot anymore, and we always take a travel stroller, but that comes onto the plane with us, so it has to be sort of small enough that it can go in the overhead compartment.
Which one do you use?
We have used the Mountain Buggy Nano in the past, and we've also got a Baby Zen Yo-Yo. So they're both really good, but to be honest, there's so many on the market now, and they're getting better and better. So I'm actually on the lookout for a new one for our next trip, even though my youngest is doesn't really need a stroller anymore. There's no way we would do an overseas trip without one, even for the next year or two.
Oh, and I know you love going to Japan, and a stroller is a godsend for little ones in Japan because, in the cities, there's a lot of walking.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even my 6 or 7-year-old, he would take breaks in the stroller and we would just alternate kids because it's just a lot for them. They're just not used to that amount of walking.
I saw a hilarious clip the other day of Shanghai Disney, and you can rent strollers big enough for...
My gosh, I saw that.
Did you see that? They're big enough for adults and the husbands push the wives around in the strollers.
I did see that. Yeah.
I love that idea.
It looked amazing, not going to lie.
It's just a little place to have a little oasis, isn't it, in the middle of a busy park?
Yeah, I'd love to be pushed around.
Absolutely. Okay, so at what age did you stop taking these extra things for the kids?
I would probably say when my youngest was just before 2.
Okay.
And even then, there were a lot of extra things that lots of other families were taking that we didn't really see the need. So we've never kind of taken sort of inflatable plane beds or blackout blinds or noise machines or anything like that.
Never.
Our kids have been pretty good at being able to either nap on the go or just have very little sleep routine. And that might come down to, again, us being a little bit chaotic and all over the place. Most of my children never had sort of set times that they napped or slept, and they never had sort of that routine where they, like you were saying, putting on pajamas means they're sleeping. So they've kind of just been go with the flow type of kids. Having said that, I mean, we've had lots of challenges with our kids in terms of other things, but sleep has always been okay.
Look, I was one of those strict people that tried to do the routines, tried to have the same bedtime and, would move my daughter's bedtime early by half an hour, another half an hour to get her ready for the next time zone or daylight savings, whatever. And nothing ever worked. Nothing ever worked. We had 2 sleep consultants. And I remember the second one we had just before we went to America, and we said, we're going on a long flight. Any tips? And she said, good luck. It's going to be hell. That's all she said.
Yeah.
We went, no. And it was.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was. But we keep on going, we keep on
Yes.
persevering, and now we love it.
Exactly. It's a temporary
Yeah.
stage in life. Everything comes to an end. And I think, we've had 3 kids and we've done pretty much the same thing and they've all been different. So it really doesn't matter what you do. They're going to do whatever they want.
Yes. Okay. Well, I want to know, back on the flights where you don't take any toys to entertain them, when they were really little, and I mean, your daughter still is.
Yes.
And the screen doesn't really help. The games don't help.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you do? How do you entertain her?
So we definitely take a few little activities for her.
Mhm.
And I would say, gosh, I'm terrible with measurements, but it would be, a little pouch that's smaller than an A4 size. And we would fill that with little new interactive items that would keep her entertained for a bit. So I try to get a few new things for each trip or flight. And I normally just buy them on Amazon or Temu, basically. But little wooden Montessori type sorting toys and activities, something that's going to hold their attention. So it does require a little bit of thinking outside the box, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So things that are going to hold her attention for longer than 2 minutes, basically.
Do you go through the whole rigmarole of wrapping up old toys and then seeing her open them on the plane?
No, but I'm definitely not against that idea. I think I've just got too much on my plate, to be honest.
That's what I used to do that too. I've tried everything. The other day, somebody suggested a little balloon that you blow up, and then it can be used to, you can blow it up. You can play with it at
love
airports.
that idea, yeah.
You can just, play with it on the plane if it's really small. A balloon. Basically, you probably get one for free in a party bag.
Yes, yeah. So those types of things. So I'd have a few of those things. So the mini magnet tiles are really good, actually, and my kids. So those types of things will actually entertain both my 3-year-old and also my 7-year-old. So there's quite a few of those types of things that I would bring that I know that, he would also have a little go at as well. She loves stickers, so that would entertain her for ages. Like if I'm going to print off some little activities, and there's a great one that I found on Instagram called Adventure Pages, and they have little activities that you can just print off yourself. You can download them. And
Adventure Pages?
Yes, they have a small cost. It's sort of on Etsy, I think it is. And then you print it off, and I would print it off, 4 to a page and then cut it out. So it's quite a little small sized little adventure book for her to work through and do colouring in and little activities for her to work on during the plane. And then I kind of estimate that she might do each activity for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you fully are prepared that you are going to be rotating activities continuously throughout that flight.
But do the 3 of them entertain each other? Do you put them in that 3-seat?
Look, the 2 oldest ones, definitely not. No, look, they definitely are playful together, and holidays and travel have, it's actually one of my favourite things to see is how close their bond is when we are travelling. All of them, at hotel pools and when we're exploring new places, they really love each other. But travel days are hard on everyone. So, if my oldest wants to watch a screen for 8 hours, I know that sounds absolutely terrible and abhorrent.
Do that.
But I'm not going to, I'm not going to stop him. I'll let him, choose what he watches. And there's, we always make sure everything's downloaded, because we never have Wi-Fi or anything on the planes. Yeah, and so I'm not going to restrict that. He's going to be able to do that. So he's quite happy and quite self-sufficient on the planes now. He's also flown so many times that they kind of just understand their routine. They understand what to expect. And
hey, look, I was 9. I was either 9 or 10 when I took my first solo flight from Sydney to Perth to visit my cousins.
Oh, wow.
And back then, there were no screens. There was no TV even in the back of the seat for a domestic flight. There was nothing. I don't know what I did. Maybe I read a book. I remember looking at my only memory from that flight is looking out the window, when you take off and then the plane starts turning. And I freaked out a little bit because the plane was turning. And I forced myself to keep looking out the window at the ocean. And then I was fine. I was fine after that. I had flown before with my family, never by myself.
Yes, but by yourself.
I can't believe I did that.
I know. It's amazing that we did that with no screens.
Yes.
Some people would love kids to go, no screens for a flight these days. But to be honest, adults don't do it. So I don't know why we would expect a child to do it. I don't know any adult that would get on a flight and not look at their phone or their iPad to watch a movie, or the back of the seat to watch a movie, or endless movies for the entire flight.
That is all I want to do, is sit back, watch a movie and have a glass of champagne. That's my dream, and it only
Well, to be honest, I haven't done.
Yeah, I was going to say, Bianca, it probably hasn't happened for you yet. It took a while.
It's been a while. Yeah.
I do remember, though, when my daughter was 3 and we went to Japan, so that's about 10 hours, that was the first time that she could sort of sit there and watch something on her iPad or play games.
Yes.
And we flew through the night, and I said she's a bad sleeper, but she actually slept through pretty much the whole flight. It was through the night. We arrived at 6, I think, in the morning, and it was great. It was fantastic. And she did it again to Vancouver, Sydney to Vancouver, an even longer flight. And that was the next year. So she was 4. But now she might be back to not wanting to sleep at night on a plane.
Yeah.
Like me, I can't sleep. I can't sleep on planes. Can you?
I can't either. No, I am a terrible sleeper on those night flights. I might do a 30-minute stint and then I just hear everything. I worry about the kids. We had one night flight where my 5-year-old didn't sleep at all. He was still wide awake watching a movie at 4 a.m. And I was like, oh my gosh. So no, I'm a terrible sleeper. I worry about the kids. Yeah, it's just, and in terms of me relaxing on a plane, I think it's been a good, 9 years since I've been able to watch a full movie from beginning to end.
Yeah, it's going to take you a while. You'll have to get a solo trip somewhere. You need a little retreat or something for that to happen.
Yes, yeah. But having said that, if you go in with the expectation of you not relaxing as a parent, and, my husband's the same, if you go in with that expectation, then you're not going to be disappointed. And then if you get to watch half a movie or listen to a podcast, you're actually like, wow, this was nice.
No, that's so true. And I think that's the biggest advice, the biggest takeaway you can get is have low expectations.
Absolutely.
And just accept it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
Yep.
And it won't last forever. And when you get there, amazing.
Yes, 100%. Absolutely. And you forget it. You forget the pain of it.
Yes, yeah, because we all do it again, don't we?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Now, when it comes to your kids' health when you're flying,
yes,
do you take things like thermometers, a medicine, Panadol?
Yes.
You do? Okay.
Yep.
So that's a non-negotiable as well.
I did mention that we don't take many toiletries, but medication is, I guess, something, look, I'm not going to say I'm paranoid about, but I probably do overpack medication. So we definitely take Panadol, kids' Nurofen, thermometers. We take sort of anti-nausea medication, like just in case, those types of things.
I need that.
Yeah. And we'll even get scripts for sort of on Dancertron just in case Bali belly hits anybody, which fortunately it never had. So these are things that we've taken on multiple trips and never needed. I mean, it's actually something I'm trying to work on packing less of, because there have been so many trips where you can actually buy all of these things over there. On our recent trip to Thailand, even in the 7-Eleven, we could get all of these types of medications for the kids that, if they were nauseous or they had a fever, or even things that could test their fever, like little stickers that could tell us what their temperature was. So, I am kind of trying to relax a little bit and know that I don't need to take everything just in case.
Yeah, I guess if you're going somewhere new,
yes,
you would probably want to take everything.
I say to myself, can we buy this there? The answer will most likely be yes.
Yep.
Then I probably won't take it. Medications is one it's probably the last one that I'm having a little bit of hard time letting go of, packing all those kid medications. Yeah.
Understandably. I had a friend who told me to take the blue book with me. The baby blue book you get when the kids are born. And if you don't know what that is, they
weigh a ton.
Yeah, I know. They're huge. Well, not huge, but they've got all the information about your baby's health. But if, I didn't really have anything unusual in there, anything remarkable that needed to be seen by anyone if my daughter got sick.
Yeah.
But I still packed it on that first trip to America.
Bless.
So you don't take that?
Absolutely not. Sorry. I mean, each to their own. But if I took my 3 kids' blue books, I mean, that's one backpack gone.
I know. Now just thinking back on that, I'm like, oh my God, I'm crazy. I could have just taken a photo if there was any history in there I needed to share.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not crazy to take those types of things if they have health concerns or the medication. So one thing is we always take a letter from our pediatrician about one of my son's medications.
Right.
So some countries, Japan for one, so some countries definitely do restrict medication. So we always take a letter from the pediatrician just to ease those tensions when we arrive at the airport and go through security and have to declare what medication we have. So things like ADHD medication in Japan can be restricted. So we always take a letter from the pediatrician and the original box with his name and his dosage on that.
So you've never been pulled up on it?
No, we always declare it. The rules are kind of, if you have an under 30-day amount, you're fine. But having said that, it depends what type of medication your child or you are taking. So there are some that are okay. There's some that are a bit more restricted and just aren't even allowed at all. And you actually need permission prior to traveling there to take it.
Okay, so medicine, non-negotiable, of course. When you're packing your backpacks, are you a fan of the vacuum sealed bags?
We are for winter items. So absolutely love it for puffer jackets, which is, most of our Japan trips are actually during winter, which is crazy because we're not skiers or anything. We don't go for the snow.
To be honest with you, Bianca, I was thinking, no, Bianca, she probably doesn't go anywhere in winter because you cannot do carry-on only if you're going to visit a cold country. You just cannot.
Is true. It's definitely a lot harder. With our Japan trips, we have in the past taken like one big suitcase to share amongst us all. But we will definitely use the vacuum seal for the winter jackets and sort of or anything puffy or things like that. They do take up a lot of space.
But for me, I don't want more room. I don't need more room. My suitcase is massive. It's the weight that bothers me. If I keep filling it up with vacuum sealed bags, it's going to be overweight.
That is yes, that is true. But those sort of down jackets and puffer jackets, they don't weigh too much. They're just quite bulky, in my opinion. So, yeah, we do the sort of rolling. You can get them from Kmart where you roll all the air out and it actually works quite well.
Oh.
It definitely does reduce the space.
What do you mean? You don't need to suck the air out?
Yeah, no, you roll it out of the bag. So it's a vacuum seal bag, but you roll it instead of needing to take sort of a pump or something to suck the air out. Yeah.
Wow. I'll have to look for those next.
So, yeah, we've used those for sort of winter items. I mean, carry-on only is definitely easier when you're going to a tropical or warm destination. That's for sure.
Now, what about big chunky things like winter boots? Do you make your kids wear them on the plane when you're leaving hot, sunny Australia for the freezing cold Northern Hemisphere?
I would. Does that mean? I would, yeah. We always wear our heaviest items on the plane. So, either clothing or shoes is going to be our heaviest ones.
Well, that makes sense. It's logical.
Yeah. And we also take very limited shoes. So I know it's pretty crazy that I don't sort of take lots of toiletries or makeup or anything like that, any beauty stuff. But our shoes, we limit it to either one or two pairs per person. And
ooh, that's tight for me.
I mean like very basic ones. Everyone has a pair of runners. And if we're going to sort of a beach or pool destination, it'll be everyone has a pair of runners and a pair of thongs, which are flip-flops or sandals for those listening overseas.
Both kinds of thongs are very light and don't take up much space.
Yeah, that is true.
Yes, for those in America, we call the things on our feet thongs. I just don't know if I could do this, Bianca. I can't get my head around it. I always regret not bringing something.
Yes.
I don't know if it comes from my work. When I travel for work, I need to take so many different wardrobe options, so much makeup, so many toiletries.
Wow.
And there's rarely any time to go and buy anything. So I think it just stems from that. And I like to be prepared. I also like to shop.
I think just that we think that we need a lot more than we do, essentially. So clothing-wise, we always need to do laundry. But that was the case even when we were taking a lot more clothes and doing check-in as well. So we were still needing to do laundry quite regularly. So we definitely limit the amount of clothing we take for all of us. Everyone sort of gets packing cubes. Packing cubes are amazing. We always use them. And yeah, we just keep our clothing really limited. I don't know if most other parents do this, but I definitely wash underwear in the bathroom at the hotel and hang it up to dry.
I always take a portable washing line, which is really just a giant elastic.
Yeah. So we do that for all the kids' stuff. Look, there's definitely been times where we've underpacked. No denying it. But what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, you just go shopping, which is one of my favorite pastimes. But then I end up buying too much.
Yes, and that is one of the hardest things. And we have a trip coming up, and that's probably going to be my biggest worry is where do we put all the souvenirs and things we want to bring home?
But I guess you could just buy a bag over there.
No, we try to resist it because I hate those last minute fees at the airport where you have to pay, a massive amount to check in something. So
can you jump back online and pre-book luggage before you leave to go home? Is it cheaper that way?
You definitely can. It's cheaper than being at the airport, but it's more expensive than sort of when you sort of booked the original flight. Having said that, it is something we try to avoid for a number of reasons. One, that is pretty expensive. So we always try to save quite a lot of money on flights. Like we get really cheap budget flights. So then adding on like, a few $100 or even $200 for some luggage to me feels like we got these cheap flights. Now it's kind of increasing in price.
Yeah, what's the
But
point?
it's not just the money. Yeah. It's also, one, you have to line up to check in that bag at the airport when you get to the airport. So our last few flights, we've been completely bypassing the check-in line and just going straight through. We're doing online check-in.
What a great feeling.
International flights. It's amazing, actually. So we don't need to get our passport checked or anything. It's all just kind of scanned online and we're just ready to go straight through the airport. My kids do not deal well with lines. So this is kind of one of the things where I'm like, oh my gosh, this has made my life so much easier. We completely bypass the check-in line. And then when we get off the plane at the other end, then we don't need to wait for baggage claim.
I do love that feeling of not having to pick up your luggage at the conveyor belt. It is freeing and you see everyone lining up. You're like, see you later. You're the first one out through quarantine or customs and then you're first one in the taxi line. You don't have to wait. There's
Absolutely.
Like you're right.
Yeah.
You feel a bit, it's a little bit superior. Yeah.
It's the best feeling. It really is. Yeah.
I've just got a few common questions from parents. Jet lag and sleep routine. I think you kind of covered that. You don't take any blackout blinds. You don't stick to routines. Your kids are great sleepers anyway.
They're pretty good. Having said that, we don't do heaps of night activities. So most nights whenever we're somewhere, we'll be back in the hotel room, either have dinner in the hotel room or just after dinner, we'll be back. The kids go to bed pretty early, but having said that, that's not always the best thing because my kids are up at the crack of dawn. Like I'm talking 5:30.
Yeah.
Sometimes 4:30. Yeah. So they're early to sleep after a big day of travel and adventure, but then they definitely do get up early and we're out the door early. But getting out on that first day is such a lifesaver. Like we get out, we get some sunshine, we do a bit of activities, but really light on activities. I'm talking exploring our neighborhood and doing some grocery shopping.
But that's fun in another country.
Yeah, absolutely. We love it. And it just kind of helps us to get our bearings of where we are and what our destination looks like. And I think it helps with, we haven't had massive issues with jet lag because a lot of Southeast Asia is in a similar time zone. But even a few hours difference.
If your kids are early risers and you're going to Southeast Asia, they're like maybe 2 hours behind, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you're waking up even earlier.
Yes.
2 in the morning, 3 in the morning.
Yeah. It can feel very hard for me and my husband, that's for sure.
You poor thing, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Now I've got how do you handle meltdowns at airports? But I guess it's carry on only. That's got to be one of the biggest hacks.
It helps in some ways, but also hinders, and I'm definitely not going to lie about that. Like having multiple bags hanging off of your body when the kids give up and won't carry their own bags, it can feel like a lot. And there's definitely times where I've thought, oh gosh, just having all of this in, 1 or 2 big suitcases that we're not lugging through the airport and we've checked in would make life easier. But, we have a lot of meltdowns. I have one son who is neurodivergent and airports are really tricky for him.
I bet.
Had times where we've lined up for, 45 minutes to an hour to get through security. And once we get to security, he's run off.
Oh, no.
And I can't find him anywhere. Yeah. So we've had horrible situations where I'm just bawling my eyes out to security because I can't find him anywhere. He's run into a no-go zone.
Oh, my goodness.
For passengers or something like that. Yeah.
What happens in those situations? Does security help you?
They do help. They definitely do help. Some airports, we haven't even been able to find somebody to help when we've lost him again. One time in Osaka, he sort of ran off and he doesn't kind of do it naughtily. It's kind of like, it's a little game almost for him.
Yeah.
But it can be really stressful for my husband and I. And, this one time in Osaka, they were calling our plane to board and we couldn't find him anywhere. And he was obviously very distressed once he realized. So what happened is we got into a lift and at the last minute he said, oh, there's an escalator. I'm going to take that and I'll meet you at the bottom. Except they ended up in different destinations, like completely different areas of the airport. And we couldn't find him. We had to follow his screaming and there was nobody around sort of for us to ask for assistance or help. We've had some real horrible airport scenarios. that have really traumatized me, like, but not enough to make me not want to go back and do it again.
That's every mother's worst fear, every parent's worst fear, to lose their child.
It really is, yeah.
I've got goosebumps hearing you talk about it because that's a really horrible situation to be in.
Yeah.
You got through it, and now do you put a tracker on him?
We have used air tags on all 3 kids.
You have?
100%, yeah. But when it kind of shows you like the location. But if you're in an airport and there's, multiple floors or different areas, like it won't show you exactly where.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of prep for all of our trips. So we will watch YouTube videos about what the airport looks like, what the different terminals look like, what the security situation looks like at that particular airport. Like, our upcoming trip to Seoul, we've watched YouTube videos on what to expect at Seoul Airport, things like that.
Yeah, love that.
So we do a lot of prep, and that might be because, particularly because of my son being neurodivergent and him kind of needing to understand the process of everything. But also, you just can't take anything for granted.
No, I think that's great. I mean, I do similar things for myself because I like to know ahead of time. I've got a little bit of anxiety there, and I like to be very organised and well planned.
Yeah, same.
So I did that with recently going to Japan and catching the Shinkansen, and I wanted to know how far the walk was and if we'd have time to go shopping beforehand.
Absolutely. I mean, YouTube is amazing for that.
Isn't
like
it?
the stuff that people upload is amazing. I'm like, thank you for just doing a walkthrough of the airport and showing me exactly what shops there are, between Terminal 1 and Terminal 2. I
definitely have a love-hate relationship with YouTube.
Yeah, same.
But that's what I love it for.
Yeah.
As usual, we've talked so much today and I've taken up so much of your time. Do you have one more real-life travel hack that parents can steal from you? Just one that you haven't mentioned?
I think my one travel hack would be to always book an airport transfer for when you arrive. Now, I'm somebody who tries to save money on everything. So, budget airlines, we always get, public transport everywhere. We get trains. We'll lug all of our luggage. We won't do luggage transfer systems or anything like that. But after a long travel day, having a car there to pick you up at the airport really does make life easier. So I will often book it either through Klook if we're going to Japan or Thailand or our upcoming trip to South Korea. Or if you're going to Bali, then you can ask the hotel to organise it for you, or you can download the Bluebird app before you arrive and just book a Bluebird taxi for when you arrive to the airport. Those types of things make life so much easier as parents.
And once again, you feel a little superior when someone's holding up a card with your name on it.
Definitely. It does make life just a bit easier. They'll also then take you directly to your accommodation. So in the past, we would have got the train, like you were saying in Japan, got the train is, from the airport to our accommodation, but it doesn't take you direct to your accommodation. You then need to either transfer to another train line or you need to walk a little bit of a distance. And that little bit of a walk could be what pushes you over the edge after a long travel day.
I like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Booking that airport transfer definitely saves our sanity and just we know then that it's sorted. And then on the way home, we feel a lot more comfortable doing public transport because we've been in that city for, a couple of weeks. We know how to navigate it. We're totally fine to get it back to the airport. Yeah.
You know why I also like those transfers is because you don't have to worry about haggling for price with taxi drivers or the anxiety, again, that it brings me when I've read some article about, I remember in Prague, they said, be careful what taxi you get into. They're always going to overcharge you.
Yes.
And that exactly happened to us.
Yeah.
And he took us a long way and we were about to miss our train. And I just wish we had a private transfer in that situation.
Or they'll say, there'll be some scam. They'll say that the meter is broken or something like that. Yeah, it's just not worth it in my mind.
And it happens here in Sydney too. Sydney, the taxi drivers at the moment drive me nuts. Yep.
Yes, agree.
You want to hear my one hack, my one really important one when you're traveling with kids, especially flying?
Yeah.
Do not wear white because you are
I love that
you
one.
are
Yes.
asking for trouble. I always feel nervous wearing white around children. You are going to make a mess if you wear white. It's just a given.
That is so true. Yes. My kids are feral. They will use me to wipe their dirty hands on. Absolutely.
Dark colours on a plane. And you may not have to change your top if you get a spill on there.
Yes. Yeah. Just deal with it.
All right, here we go, Bianca. Another fast five for you. 5 new questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
What is your favorite tech hack for traveling?
I think it would have to be to screenshot absolutely everything. So all of your bookings, all of your times, all of that, because you can never rely. Even if you have an eSIM and it activates as soon as you arrive, I just like having a screenshot of everything that I need.
Very important. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I know the answer to this one, but would you save money on a flight or the accommodation?
Definitely a flight. I am just totally okay with flying budget. It just doesn't faze me at all. I'm not getting on a flight to, relax and enjoy a meal in a movie or anything like that. Not at this stage in my life. Like I have 3 little needy kids who need me throughout the flight. I think on one recent flight, I think it took me 6 hours to watch a 1-hour movie. So it's just not.
That's not enjoyable at all. All right. One thing your kids always fight over when on holidays.
Oh gosh, I mean, the list is endless. But they will always fight over who gets to press the lift button and elevator button. So I don't know, is that just my kids? It's the first one that gets it is the winner, essentially.
Oh, to be a kid again. And I think I know the answer to this, but where is your next adventure?
So we're heading to South Korea in a few weeks and we will be spending time in both Seoul and Busan. Seoul obviously looks like an amazing metropolitan city, and then Busan is kind of a city by the beach. So we're really excited about experiencing that. And it's kind of like 2 different holidays, sort of a beach holiday and a big city holiday kind of jammed into one. So super excited. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to see those pictures. And finally, I'm asking this question because, of course, your dad had a lolly shop when you were kids with lollies from America and all over the world. What is your favorite American snack?
Oh my gosh, this would be so embarrassing to admit. And it actually doesn't even come from when we were little and we did so many trips over there and he imported things. But I love Cheetos.
Cheetos?
It's so embarrassing to admit.
The orange chip ball, the cheesy balls. Is that what they are?
Yes. They're kind of, not the balls. So they kind of look more like a twisty, but different. So I love them so much that I actually know that if you buy them here, and they're made for the Australian consumer in Australia, they're very different to the American one. So you actually have to go to an American import place or some of the little tobacconists and buy it there. And it's really expensive. Like I'm talking over $10 a packet.
Oh my gosh.
And to get the proper American one with obviously the banned ingredients that they can't use here.
That makes it taste delicious.
But I mean, if I'm going to have a treat, come on.
No, I am open to trying that. Just a little sneaky one. The thing about American snacks, though, they're huge.
Totally huge.
The packets are so big, aren't they? So you feel like you have to finish it.
Totally, yeah, which is terrible. Oh my gosh, it's so bad.
I know. Okay, my tummy's rumbling. I want more.
Yeah.
I want to research Busan now. That sounds beautiful.
Yes.
And thank you so much for joining me again on Snacks and Suitcases, Bianca.
Thanks, Sally. It's been so lovely to be here and talk all things travel.
Bianca, you are welcome back anytime. Oh, nothing is going to stop Bianca from seeing the world with her kids. To go through running out of formula and losing her child at the airport, 2 of the worst situations to experience as a parent. Oh, and to share them with us and what she's learned and those packing tips. Thank you so much, Bianca. We really appreciate it. If you would like more of her tips, head to Bianca's blog or her Instagram page. It's Travel with My 3 Kids, and it's packed full of more travel hacks and itineraries for some awesome family-friendly destinations. That's it for this season of Snacks and Suitcases. A huge thank you for listening so far. I'll be back later in the year with more travel stories, tips, and adventures. In the meantime, there are plenty of episodes in the archive to help you plan your next trip. And if you'd like to be on Snacks and Suitcases in the future, please do reach out. You can find me on Instagram at Snacks and Suitcases Podcast, or try emailing snacksandsuitcasespodcast@gmail.com and let me know your story. Last but not least, can I ask a huge favour? Please click the follow button and leave a review wherever you're listening, because that allows other families who want to travel with their kids to find the podcast. Thanks again, and until next season, happy travels.
And don't forget the snacks.